Welcome to Retire Right TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Paul Roberts. He's president and CEO of Roberts Wealth Management. Paul, how are you today?
I'm great every day, Cynthia.
I am great every day as well, and even better when we're together in the studio because we have such amazing shows, and so many people have called in and they've commented that they've really enjoyed the information that you're providing to them, because a lot of times you're speaking about topics that people don't talk about very often.
There's a lot of things out there that people don't talk about today, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things I think we should talk about, wouldn't you say?
I definitely agree, because obviously people are hungry for that information. And even more importantly, let's talk a little bit about how many of your clients actually pass your name along to friends and family. A lot of your business through the years, Paul, has been driven by referrals, testimonials. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. We a lot of financial, we do a lot of coaching and mentoring nationally for other financial firms, and we've kind of started to educate people a lot on they're working too hard and they're missing too much business, because business is a lot easier if you get a lot of referrals. And they say, well, I don't get referrals. What do you have to do to get referrals? I say, well, you have to work hard for people, care for them, take good care of them, give them a great experience, and then they're apt to refer you and advocate good for you in the community.
Sure.
But it all just comes back to that number one principle: put the people first and deliver for them. Right?
Absolutely. So when you're putting people first, putting your clients first, you're talking about designing a retirement plan that's going to have, let's just say, guardrails, if you will, because going into retirement, you want that to be protected. So in the viewing audience today, let's just talk a little bit about the people that are watching today. In your opinion, would it be a staggering number of folks that are turning in that do not have a true plan in place?
It's majority of folks.
Okay.
Majority of folks that walk in our office door. Our viewers at home are familiar. They know the new beautiful Ocean Springs Bridge that we built after Hurricane Katrina wiped out the last one. And I ask people sometimes, how confident would you feel, as you just said, the guardrails, running over that bridge if there were no rails on the side, right?
Sure.
You say, well, I don't think I'd cross the bridge. And say, well, why is your retirement any different? You're running down a bridge with no guardrails right now.
Yeah.
Things can go sideways really quick and really bad. You need to put some parameters in place to protect you and your family.
Sure.
But not just protect yourself. It's the peace of mind, and that's what we do, is peace of mind planning. We want our clients to sleep well at night, have confidence in our team, know that they have a great all-star team that is looking out for their best interest at every corner and always looking forward. But also, our clients know what their future looks like. They know where they'll be in 3, 5, 10, 20 years. They know what generationally it will look like for their kids. They know what their lifestyle is going to look like. They have enough confidence, and it's partly because, like you're always saying, I'm a teacher at heart, and all of our all-star advisors are the same way. They don't just advise or tell someone what to do. When a client comes in through the new client intake process, it's a participatory process. They're very involved and they're very engaged, and we want them very involved and very engaged because they learn all the way through the process. They understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and that's very important, I think, and that's where the financial world's lacking, is they talk about what, right, all the time.
Yeah.
What type of investment, or what do I want?
Yeah.
And it's not the what that matters. The client needs to understand the why.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Why are you recommending this? Why are you doing this? And when you give them that education and that knowledge, and they understand why, it gives them the security and the confidence that they need and deserve. And when you create that education and that security and confidence that people deserve, guess what they're going to do? They're going to refer you business.
Yes, they're
going to talk good about you.
Yes, they are.
We have a lot of competitors who ask me all the time. Excuse me. I eat lunch with a lot of my competitors, and and I keep close relationships with a lot of the people on the Gulf Coast in the financial industry, and they ask me a lot, how's your firm growing so much every year? I tell them, well, it's very simple. And in our industry, we have a 74% client retention rate is the average amongst firms, right?
Okay.
So it means they're losing 26% of their clients every year.
Sure.
So before their business grows, they have to replace the 26% they lost last year. Well, over the last 10 years, we have a 99% client retention rate. We don't lose clients, and the reason we don't is because they're educated, they're empowered, they know what to expect, they're confident in their plan, they've been a part of it, and so they have no reason to go anywhere else. And then they love the experience that we give them and the service that we give them and the smiles and the warmness that we provide for them. And when you do that and you provide that for people, they actually get what they deserve. And I think there should be a lot more of thinking about what the client deserves today,
Sure.
because what passionately wakes us up and makes us do our job every day is that there are so many people who have done everything they were supposed to do. They did what they were told. They saved money in that 401k. They put it away pre-tax, and then now here they are. They worked hard. They did their job. They put in a career. They saved their money. They did everything they were told. And now all of a sudden they're in a situation, they're moving into retirement. They have super unstable markets, a super unstable economy, looking at higher taxes and hyperinflation, and these are just working class people who said, but I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I did everything I was told.
I know.
And they deserve the reward in the end. And it wakes us up and passionately makes us do what we do every day, because what's the sad part, Cynthia, is too many Americans are not going to get what they deserve on the end. They're not looking forward at higher taxes and market volatility and all the things that can stifle their retirement.
Sure.
And it's just wrong, in my opinion.
Well, much like you mentioned, Paul, obviously we've talked in the past about future taxes and perhaps the increase in taxes, if you will. I think a lot of times when people have been working with an advisor for so many years, that advisor would specialize in more of the accumulation phase without talking about going into distribution phase, without talking about things like doing a Roth conversion, if you will.
Right, and that's the problem. Most major corporations in the financial world today, they specialize in the accumulation stage.
Yeah.
But like I said, once you get to that distribution stage, the retirement stage, there are all these other factors you have to bring in. You have to look at taxation, inflation, income. How am I going to pass this money on, create a legacy? What about my inheritance? What about my estate planning? What about my health care? What about my Social Security planning, my pension planning? There's just too many other things in there that are not being looked at or addressed. And, that's why, like I always say, we're not a jack of all trades. We're just a master of one. All we know is retirement.
Yep.
But we know retirement inside and out, and that's what we do every day.
That's what you do every day. And Paul, I know you have a special offer that you're going to present to the viewers at home. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then let's go ahead and open up the phone lines.
There are many people out there today who feel quite insecure or have a lot of doubt about where we're going or what's going to happen to them. What does the future look like today? And if you've worked hard all of your life, you deserve better than that. You deserve to know where you're going and know what your future looks like. You shouldn't have to live with that anxiety and doubt. This is what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the opportunity to create the confidence that you deserve. For the next 15 callers who call us right now, what we'll do is we will give you a no-cost, no-obligation consultation one-on-one with one of our all-star advisors who are just teachers at heart. They're going to sit down. They're going to have a conversation with you. They're going to listen a lot more than they talk. They're going to find out what are your concerns, what are your fears, what are your doubts, what keeps you up at night, and we're going to find solutions to those problems, and we're going to help you create the confidence that you deserve in retirement. So pick up the phone right now. If you're one of the next 15 callers, no cost, no obligation, complete comprehensive review of your current situation, and we'll plan out the rest of your life, and you can have that confidence you deserve. So give us a call. Come sit down with one of our all-star advisors.
Paul, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone lines are now open. That number to call is 228-388-2031. We know you have a lot of questions about how to retire comfortably, retire with confidence. What Paul is offering you today is the opportunity to come in and to sit with one of the all-star advisors. Again, that number to call is 228-388-2031. We have to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. I'm going to have so much more with Paul when we return.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go? And who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to Retire Right TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Paul Roberts. He's president and CEO of Roberts Wealth Management. Paul, we were talking in the commercial break, obviously, about how people are paying attention to so many things today on mainstream media, if you will. How can that sometimes lead someone astray if they're following that too closely?
Yeah. I think there are a lot of people being led astray by the mainstream media today. You know, I'll keep opinions to myself, but the problem is, if you tune into any news outlets or any major mainstream media outlets out there today, what do you hear? The economy's great. We're having a V-shaped rebound from COVID. Everything's going great. Stock market's up, right? The problem today is the political arena is wrapped around convincing you that the economy is great, and the indicator to the general public that the economy is great or not is whether the stock market is going up or not. Right?
Yep.
And that's why that's all they focus on. Every day you hear them, economy's doing great, market's up, but they don't tell you how much massive money printing we're doing, what that is doing, what are the economic effects of the money printing that we're creating, what are the economic effects of the interest rates we're looking at. You see, I have a lot of concern for a lot of Americans moving forward right now because they have the traditional stock bond portfolio. And, you know, they start getting a little concerned. Their gut tells them, I'm worried about things.
Yeah.
I'm worried about things.
Yeah.
The media, they listen to the news and says everything's great. Stock market's going up, but their gut's telling them, I don't feel that way.
Yeah, something's wrong.
I think these people need to listen to their gut a lot more than they do the news.
Yeah.
Okay? Because what's going to happen to a lot of Americans going forward who hold that traditional stock bond portfolio? We know we have a severe market downturn coming. The market is so hyperinflated. The only reason that the market has been held up right now is all the money printing we've been doing and injecting into the markets. And we have been injecting it into those markets like crazy. Okay? We're currently printing $80 billion a month.
Wow, $80 billion a month.
$80 billion a month of Treasury money is going into corporate bonds and treasuries. We're propping up the market fully. But the problem is the Fed is backing themselves into a corner. See, the Federal Reserve, you know, they're trying to keep interest rates low. They're trying to keep inflation low. We see how their keep inflation low is going. Inflation's going through the roof.
Absolutely.
So that's not working, right? They're backing themselves into a corner to where what's going to happen is they're going to have to end up increasing rates. Okay, inflation is just going to back them in a corner where they have no choice but to start increasing interest rates, and it's going to happen very soon.
Yeah.
Well, what a lot of Americans don't understand at home is a lot of people say, you know, I'm a little concerned about the stock market. My gut tells me it's kind of inflated and it's not true. But they feel like they call their broker and they say, I'm not unsure about the market. He says, well, that's okay. We'll move some out of the stock market. We'll move more into bonds. Problem is, in America, traditionally, the bond portion of your portfolio has been the stable and secure portion of your portfolio. But that was in the old world we lived in. We're in a new world today. We're in uncharted territory. We're in a place that something's about to happen economically that we've never witnessed before. Interest rates are as low as they can possibly go. When the Fed gets backed into this corner by hyperinflation, they're going to have to start increasing rates. As they start increasing rates and the market starts to get more shaky, most Americans are going to call their brokerage company, move more into bonds, and they don't know, and the brokers are not informing them and telling them that those bond portfolios have an inverse relationship to rising interest rates.
Of course, like a teeter-totter, if you will.
Yes, it's the teeter-totter. So the higher rates rise, the more your bond portion, your bond portfolio gets devalued.
Yeah.
So people are going, I'm worried about the market, so they're going heavier into bonds, and they don't know what's right around the corner is your bonds are going to get hurt hard.
Sure.
So if your stock portfolio is way down in a stock market crash, and then all of a sudden you find your bond portion or your portfolio is down 10, 20, 30% plus, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then comes that horrible word, you always say it's horrible, budget.
The budget. I like to say
The
spending
budget,
plan.
Right. Because people are going to actually have to take another look at their
Yeah,
lifestyle.
of
People,
course.
when their portfolio and their life savings is down 30, 40, 50% in the next few years, they're going to have to reevaluate their lifestyle.
Yeah.
They're going to have to start living under a budget. They're going to have to start doing without some things. And as I said in the earlier segment, working Americans don't deserve that. They did everything they were supposed to do.
Yes.
These are good people who went by the rules. They played by the rule book. They did exactly what they were told to do to have a happy retirement. And then now we have this headed their way, and I just my heart goes out to so many Americans. We want to reach every single one of them and help them and protect them from what's coming their way.
Well, I know the shows are definitely helping you do that, Paul, because we've talked about this in the past. So many people have reached out and they've scheduled the appointment with the All-Star Advisors because they feel like they need guidance, they need help, especially with so many things in the future being the unknown. And you tapped on two of them, obviously: taxes, inflation, and both of those, how can they affect a retiree's portfolio, if you will?
Taxes and inflation are, in my opinion, the largest threat to all retirees today.
Okay.
It's not being addressed. People understand stock market risk, and they understand there's a risk to their retirement going forward in the stock market, but they don't understand all the other risks associated with their retirement. First of all, most Americans don't realize there's an unknown risk that they're not talking about. Regulatory risk is a high risk going forward.
Okay.
Right? You have regulatory risk, you have legal risk, and legal risk and regulatory risk roll right into inflation and taxation because the Federal Reserve is going to be backed into a corner to where they cannot control inflation when its hyperinflation hits. What is going to happen to your lifestyle when your purchasing power is cut in half because the cost of goods is twice as high as it was previously?
Absolutely.
Right? When your $500 a month grocery bill goes to $1,000 a month, how much is that going to change individuals' life? And so many retirees live off of fixed income, of Social Security benefits and pensions. Those are the people we really want to help the most we can because they're the most vulnerable going forward. At least if you're not on a fixed income, you can work around it a little bit. But just not enough people are paying attention. You've got regulatory risk, you've got financial risk, you've got legal risk, and most importantly, those are going to create hyperinflation and higher taxation. And when inflation cuts your income in half, and then your taxes go through the roof, and it cuts what income you have left in half, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, absolutely.
And
you need to have a plan.
You need to have a plan. And it's also, we're always looking forward. It's not just about today and about your lifestyle, it's also about the future and what your family.
Sure.
We've spoke many times on the show about the baby boomer generation is accumulated the largest mass of wealth the world's ever seen. We're about to see the largest transfer of wealth from one generation to the next we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And how heavy do you think that they plan to tax that generational transfer of wealth?
I think very high.
So it's time to start planning. If
Sure.
you haven't taken any of these things serious, if you haven't had these conversations with your advisor before, I think now is a pretty good time to start having them.
I agree, Paul. And let's go ahead and reopen up the phone lines. Would you agree it's a great time?
Great time.
All right. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 228-388-2031. If you have any questions or concerns about where you currently stand on your path to retirement, this is the perfect opportunity for you to pick up the phone and call today to obtain a complimentary consultation with one of the All-Star Advisors. Let them take a look at what you currently have in place. If it needs to be tweaked or adjusted, there's really no better time than today. All you have to do is call. The number is 228-388-2031. We have to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'm going to have so much more with Paul on how to plan your perfect retirement. Please stay tuned.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to Retire Right TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Paul Roberts. He's president and CEO of Roberts Wealth Management. Paul, a great show that we're having today, talking about so many important topics and most importantly, planning for retirement. Now, we've spoken in the past that people need to be aware and they need to be concerned that there's going to be a market downturn, if you will. Tell me why you feel that way. Where's that coming from?
First, that's a lot. That's a whole lot, Cynthia.
It's a big question.
We'd have to do about 4 shows to really lay it out for people. So let me see if I can stay out of the details and the weeds. That's a very complex situation. I'm going to try to kind of simplify it, right?
Okay.
I'm going to try to talk in terms and ways that everybody can understand and relate to.
Okay.
All right, very simply, the printing press in the United States is a big problem.
Okay.
Okay. Just our COVID response, we printed over $6 trillion. Our current administration is proposing new plans that we're going to print more money for and more money. And then people say, well, what does money printing have to do with the market? All right, let's go back and let's look at some of this money printing in a deficit. Let's rewind prior to the 2008 financial crisis, right? Our U.S. national debt was in the range of $8 trillion, right? Okay, it has gone from $8 trillion to $32 trillion today, right?
Okay.
So in 13 year period,
okay,
we have gone 4-fold to where we were.
Wow.
Okay. What people don't understand when we talk about this money printing and why is it a problem, my question to the viewers is, how many of the dollars, if we printed 20-something trillion dollars in the last 13 years, how many dollars did any of the viewers receive? And I know the answer is they're going to say, well, none.
Yeah, exactly.
COVID, some people got a $1,200 check or something,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So we got a few billion went to the people. The question is, where does all that money they print go, right? It goes into bond markets, it goes into treasury markets, it goes to the corporations, right? So the reason we're seeing these hyper inflated PE ratios in the stock market today, which people got to understand how insane that is. When I first started trading stocks as a very, very young man, I was taught you'll always be okay if you never buy a stock with greater than a 12-to-1 PE ratio, right?
Okay.
12-to-1. Do you know that this year Tesla's PE ratio hit 1,400-to-1?
Wow.
Fathom that.
Yeah.
Anything higher than 12-to-1 is bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're at 1,400-to-1. How much
Wow.
Right?
That's staggering.
It's staggering, isn't it? So the whole answer here is that all the money we're printing is being shoved into that market and it's propping up that market, right? However, there's a certain point where we just can't sustain the money printing. We're way beyond to where we can't sustain the money printing. We can't continue to print money in that way.
Sure.
Well, if the money printing has been the steam that has been moving that locomotive down the tracks, and we have to start pulling back on that money printing, and the Federal Reserve is already talking about cutting back, right, on stimulus now, which they need to. But the problem is, as soon as they draw that back a little bit, they're pulling the steam that runs the locomotive down the tracks back out. Well, that locomotive is not going to keep running without the steam, right? And then a lot of things are not being talked about by the mainstream media or any outlets out there. The average American's not aware of some things that are involved, like repo markets. September of 2019, and no one's talked about this publicly, our financial system broke. Overnight, the repo markets broke. The interest rates on the repo markets went from 0.8 to 10.2% at night while we were sleeping. And the Federal Reserve had to print and throw trillions of dollars in the market in a 48-hour period to save the entire financial market. Well, they did that, and then they kept continuing to print $120 billion a month to keep that market propped up. And it got them from September of 19 all the way until March of 2020 when COVID hit. And then it broke again, and the repo market soared overnight. Okay, we're looking at today. We're in the same situation. The repo market is about to do a significant spike, and they're not going to be able to print enough money to pull us back out of that. Okay, so there's all of these factors and indicators that are happening back out there in the background that I don't want to get too far into detail, because then everyone's eyes water off over at home, right? Now, like, what is he talking about? but basically, we're propping the market up with fake money, and we can't keep doing it.
Yeah.
And so, we're looking at, if you look at the M2 money supply and what we have done over the last 2 years, it's insane. Just for instance, the U.S. dollars in circulation around the globe, we have printed 40% of the dollars in circulation in the last 24 months. Wow. 40% of all of the U.S. money in the world was printed in the last 24 months.
Oh, my goodness.
How do you sustain that?
I know.
How do you keep that going?
Yeah.
And if you have to print that much to keep the market up so that the media broadcasters can say the economy's good and the market's up, when are they going to tell people, hey, we can't print enough money to keep it up anymore, right? And so I'm very concerned for a lot of Americans, because I believe that they go along with the media and say, hey, as long as the market's doing good, the economy's doing good. Every other economic indicator out there says, no, the economy is devastated right now.
Yeah.
Look at unemployment, look at all these other indicators. The only good thing out there is the market is going up, and it's false.
Well, Paul, thank you for another amazing show this week. I know the viewers at home appreciate the knowledge that you share with them, and they're not hearing this information anywhere else, so thank you for shedding some light on everything right now. Another great show. To the viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us today. That number to call is 228-388-2031. If you have questions about how to retire comfortably, Paul is offering you the opportunity to meet with the All-Star Advisory team. Again, thank you for watching. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we'll see you here next week.